Performance management is all about working out whether the employees are meeting the goals that have been set for them. And HR, or the HR department, or the human resources person is going to have to develop a system for finding out. And the two that identified in the syllabus, the two systems of performance management, are an administrative system and a developmental system. And really, you're not just going to pick one or two in reality. You're going to kind of have a combination of both. But you do need to kind of try to do it systematically, because then some workers are going to be, underperforming, and some are going to be really focused on, and it's going to become a problem. So let's look at an administrative system. And in the Ian Moore textbook, in the Creative Business Studies textbook, he describes it as a tick-the-box kind of system of performance management. And he's absolutely spot on. If you want a proper textbook, get that one. Get the creative economics. Oh, get that one too. But get the Creative Business Studies, because that actually goes through everything and has all the case studies. But his way of expressing things is fantastic. So if you want a business studies book, get that one. Especially if you're a teacher. Now, this ticker box kind of way of doing things is just ensuring minimum compliance with the standards. So this is especially for like legal standards, things like, WHS, like workplace health and safety. Those things, you can't just want to tick the box and, okay, they've done it. The advantages of doing it like this, of just managing performance by ticking boxes, is that it's easy and it's quick, and the managers don't need any special training. They just need to be able to tick boxes, unless they need training on how to tick boxes, in which case, I don't know how they became managers. But the disadvantages, and for higher level jobs, it becomes a real problem, is that there's no long-term growth of employees. If they know that at the every 3 months they just have to tick some boxes, and there's no follow-up or anything like that they're really not developed in any way, they're not going to develop. And they might just do enough to meet those requirements, because there's nothing, there might be a box on the left saying they couldn't do it, box on the right saying they did do it, but there's nothing on the right of that, right? There's nothing that is going to develop them any further. So if you can just tick all the boxes each time you get, appraised, every time you get looked at by the HR department to see whether you're meeting the standards, then you're really not going to have any incentive to improve. The opposite of that is a developmental approach. I've got someone holding a kid's hand. It's really not, that kind of looks creepy now I think of it. But the developmental way of doing things is focusing on that long-term development. Have constant evaluation of, whether they're doing their job well, and whether they're meeting their goals. Get them to set their own goals, find out whether they're meeting their goals and how they can get there, and how they can get to an even further goal or a greater goal. And this isn't really for those minimum, legal standards. If your legal standards, include like wearing gloves. You can't maybe sometime in the future I'll wear 2 pairs of gloves. You can't really do it that way. But this is for, things that do require a lot of skill. Now, the advantages of this, you're going to have long-term gains for the business. There's going to be increased productivity, because they're constantly going to be evaluated and asked to set new goals and reach further. So they're going to be more productive, unless you ask them to reach too far. The employees are also going to feel valued. So they're going to feel like, oh, okay, my manager is actually helping me develop, and maybe one day I'll get a promotion through this development. Not like, I'm just being watched all the time, and, they're ticking boxes and stuff like that. They're not going to feel like that all the time, although sometimes they might also feel like that. The disadvantage is that it's very time consuming. So to sit down with every employee, every month or couple of months, or even, a yearly kind of thing, is going to be time consuming, and the managers really need to be dedicated to developing the employees. So you might actually do it through the HR department. They do it through things like, interviews, like quarterly interviews, or 6 months or whatever. Sometimes they link it to pay as well. So they go, okay, well, we're going to evaluate your performance, but we're also going to work out whether you're going to get paid more or not. So that kind of gives you an extra incentive, like, okay, all right, I do need to do better. And setting your own goals is going to be something that is going to improve you as an employee, because you know what the goals are and you set them yourself, so you're going to be more motivated to try and reach those. And most businesses will do a combination of both. They'll have a bit of administrative, usually legal requirements. Yes, tick the box, away you go. But good managers are going to do this developmental stuff, where they focus on evaluating and self-evaluation, and get the employees to really improve themselves. And that, has long-term benefits.